Alright, good morning. Here we are. This is our 2014 Ram 1500 four-wheel drive, 392 gears, 5.7 Hemi, 8-speed transmission. And I haven't put too many videos out in the last 4 or 5 months because this has been an aggravation that we've been dealing with. Back in July, my wife, daughter, and 2 of our grandkids had driven to Pennsylvania to visit another couple of our grandkids, and my wife had her first encounter with what they call a diverging diamond interchange. It's kind of weird. You end up crossing over to the left side of the road, and she didn't understand it and got confused and didn't see that there was a stoplight in front of her, and she ran a stoplight at a fairly low speed and got punched in the right front here by another car. So nobody got hurt, everything was fine, but it mulched this entire front end. Took out the fender, took out the light, took out everything, the blower bumper cover there. The inner fender was all pretty good. The rail here was good. It didn't do the frame, but it just completely destroyed the entire suspension system. Ended up breaking the steering rack in half. Sway bar was all bent up. Wheel was falling off. Wrecked the wheel and tire. And you know, we got lucky. It did not touch the door. It did not touch the hood, and didn't break the windshield, and didn't set off any airbags, any of that shit. So, you know, broke the step and all the other stuff. But after some wrangling with the insurance company, and I'm generally happy with what they gave us for it, but I bought it back and had the shop that we have here in town, after we drug it home, fix it. So it's a salvage title truck now, but they did a great job. And I did that because I know the history of this thing. We bought it new in July of 2014. It's got 148, something like that, 1,000 miles on it. I've always meticulously maintained it, oil changes, you know, everything like that. Greasing what can be greased, front end, rear end, transmission oil, filters, you name it. I've meticulously maintained this thing because the engines with those weird lifters scare me a little bit. But so far she's been a fantastic truck. My wife likes it. And so we had it rebuilt. And I ended up having to come out about $800 out of pocket versus what I got for it after the buyback and all that other stuff. So that's not too bad. There's no way I could have picked, for what they were going to give me if I gave them the truck, there's no way I could have picked up a truck of about the same era, same mileage. I mean, it would have been right in that range, but then you don't know the history of it. And if these things, if you skimp on oil changes, you're going to blow the lifters out of it and end up with $6,000 worth of engine repair. So I kept it. And we finally got it back a couple of weeks ago. Parts were a nightmare trying to get the correct A-arms and all that other stuff. They must have gone through 4 or 5 different sets of A-arms, because the 4-wheel drives are aluminum, the 2-wheel drives are steel, and they kept sending them 2-wheel drive parts. And then the steering rack was almost $4,000 from the, from dealer, and so we got one of those out of an LKQ, save about $3 grand on that, and then just lots and lots and lots of little stuff. Everything's perfect though. It runs, it drives, it's great. I'm glad to have it back. The only thing that we got to do is on this new wheel and tire. I put it in the back here. It's kind of weird because I'm chasing an issue. Above 60 miles an hour, it has this weird vibration, and it's not like an unbalanced tire vibration. It's like a thrumming resonance. It's just strange. So I talked to him about it. We're going to see what we can do with that after the holidays. It's not a big deal. Doesn't keep you from driving it, but above 60, it kind of does really weird stuff. But one of the things I've got is it broke my shock completely in half. Just tore it in half when everything else failed into there. So I got him a new Bilstein for it, which were hard to find. These are kind of oddball shocks. I had to go real deep to dig these bad boys up. But since I changed these at 40,000 miles. They've got over 100,000 miles on them, and so I bought 2 of them. So I'm going to do this one today, which will go on this side. Then I think it's still good because I don't notice anything, but you know, I want to kind of match the age of the units, so then I don't worry about this one blowing out at some point and, you know, having all sorts of mismatched garbage. The other thing they noticed, and I knew about it when they were in there, is that the brakes are getting real thin. The pads are really, really down. But what I have to, and so they were asked if I wanted to do it. It's like, no, I'll do that myself, and because I knew it was coming anyway. And so here we are. We got some top-notch EBC rotors and pads. And what I have to say is I can't speak highly enough of these brakes. This is 148,000 miles. These are 100% the original brakes. They are factory original. I have never changed them. The rotors, calipers, pads, everything is factory original on this thing. 9 years and 140,000 miles. Granted, it's in the South, so there's not a lot of rust, but they're fantastic. So that's kind of what we're going to get into today. I'm going to try to get all of this done, and then the only thing I'll have to do is flush the brake fluid. Maybe I get to use my little pressure machine this time finally. And I probably at some point, since it's the original antifreeze in here, I may want to try to use my antifreeze flusher and see if I can do a system flush on this, because it is original. I think it's good. Like I said, I haven't had any issues, but it is getting 10 years old, and you know, it's probably time, since I do want to at this point keep this truck for, well, ever, since there's effectively no value in it anymore with a salvage title. But yeah, so here we go. First step, we're gonna jack up the car. Alright, well, that's off. 22 millimeter socket for the lug nuts. You can see all the new stuff. Got the new aluminum control arm, new half shaft, new shock, new upper A-arm, lower A-arm, that is, aluminum lower A-arm. I guess it doesn't look like they had to replace the sway bar, but the sway bar end link certainly, steering rack, all of that. They did put a new caliper on it. That's kind of cool, even though I think the old one was good. It just had cut the wire. It had just cut the line. Looks like they got all the clips back on where they're supposed to go. Everything's good. Yeah, nothing got into the frame. We got lucky there. The frame is perfectly straight, and that upper frame is perfectly straight. That was my concern. But yeah, no major issues. They did have some problems at some point trying to get parts that were going to fit. This axle they matched because they had to do the inner one too, and all sorts of other stuff because it was all smooshed. And but yeah, that was a trip. So now it looks like we're going to pull the caliper off, and that's going to be these little guys here, and then we'll get the caliper bracket off, which are these big guys here. Alright, so those are some little tiny 13 millimeters that hold it in there. Pin is super free. Well, glad to see that. I won't have to screw with that on this side. But yeah, it might help if at some point you have to put a wrench on this one here to get those out if they're rusted, but no major issues there. And should push it in a little bit, loosen it up. Alright, this is going to be a two-hand job. Back in a minute. Alright, there she is, nice and off, and you can see these pads have 148,000 miles on them. Absolutely. Come on. Absolutely astonishing. Super even. I mean, they're a little dusty, but I can't complain about that. And so now we're going to move those out of the way and pop this bracket off so we can pop off the rotor. And that's loose, so that shouldn't be too bad. We'll just have to knock this little tab off of here, and that'll be that. Oh, let's see, are those 19s? We're about to find out. All right, they're actually 21s. They came out nice. Got all our new knuckle and everything else in there. Now we're gonna go get a little pair of needle nose, pull that clip off, and the rotor. Oh, there's two of them. Look at that. They don't need to be on there. They're put on from the factory just to assist assembly, but they're not necessary. But I'm gonna pull those off, pop that rotor off. All right, so once those little guys are off, there it is. And that is an original 148,000 mile rotor. Probably doesn't need to be changed, but it does have a little bit of a warp in it. Very minor. You can hear it under, aggressive braking, let's say. You can feel it, both of them. And so, not too worried about it. It's time. But, yeah, everything else looks really good. Looks like they were able to straighten out the original. No, that's probably a new one, considering how mulched up everything was. Splash guard. So, alright, so now let's open these bad boys up, see what's in the box. Oh yeah, because everybody needs drilled and slotted rotors on a half-ton pickup truck daily. Yeah. I'm assuming that means right, because yeah, these are directional. So, slap that on there. Come on. There it goes. That was fairly inconsequential. Let's make sure the other one has an L on it. And it does. All right, good. Let's see what we got. Ooh, stickers, horsepower. See what we got for pads. Ooh, man, we got all sorts of stuff in here. I'm thinking those go inside of the piston. That's interesting. I have to read some instructions on that. There we go. Oh yeah, those look nice. Make sure we got, if they're all the same or if they're a little different. Take a look. Yeah, break in, I guess that would be a good idea. They all pretty much look the same from that side. They all look the same from that side, and they all have the same number on them. So yeah, all four of the pads match, which is nice, so I don't have to worry about an inner and an outer there. Ooh, I dropped one of those clips, and I don't see another set of clips in here, so we're going to have to do that. Find that bad boy. Okay. Time for piston insert cushions. Fit by hand into the piston bores till they are flush. Anti-vibration. It is not necessary to use or retain any other flat style noise shims. Okay. Use only the piston shims, no need to grease. And the backing plates. Yeah, alright. Cool. Well, not much to that. Not much to that at all. Why are there two of them? Why are there four of them, I guess? Huh. Well, that one's kind of bent. These are all a little wonky. But, yeah, well, we'll take a look and see what we got. Not much to this, I guess. Oh, duh, because there's dual pistons. That'd do it. All right. Well, we're going to get these back on so they hold this thing straight. One. And two. There we go. Easy enough. And I guess we're going to put that back on now. Oh, there's one of those clips is already there. Okay, well, that's good. So good. I still have all four of those. I may need to get a hardware kit depending on the condition of those on the other side, because these I know are brand new, but I may need to get a hardware kit. We'll have to see. I thought those might come with it. These little stainless slider doodads, but yep, those are correct. Wonderful. Alright, so let's get that caliper mount bracket bolted on and get these slipped in place. Alright, so we're using a C-clamp, two C-clamps and one of the old pads to slowly push these back where they go. You get the idea. Put this down and finish this up. And now they're all squished in, so I guess we put those guys in there. And that's ready to go. Like I said, this one's brand new and clean. It doesn't barely have 100 miles on it. So all the seals look nice. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'll set you over there. And now we're going to put these clips in and see if we can get the pads in. But first, I think this doesn't feel like it has any grease on it, but I'm going to get some brake clean and give it a quick douche and go from there. That should do it. It's nice and spiffy. So now we're going to try to get the pads in. Really not too much to that. You just put these on the end of the pads, get it over there, and they just kind of slip in. That's your little spring that helps it spring back. It's up there, feels nice. And we'll just do the other side. Alright, so those went in pretty good. Make sure you got the springs on the outside. Little clips, they're good. That's good. Now we'll see how this wants to go on. And this, probably have to compress these guys a bit. Okay. Alright. There she goes. Alright, that wasn't too bad. There we go. Everything looks fairly copacetic. I'm going to have to get a... Hang on. Nope, there we go. And that's it. So, now we're going to go step on the brakes, tighten that up, see what we got. Feels good. All right. So that's a rotor and pad slap on the front of a 14 Ram 4x4. Okay, yeah, it's still got some play. Man, that hose seems a little short. We're gonna look at the other side, see, make sure that's right, that that's not getting stretched at all. Seems a little snug, but yeah, pretty simple. Granted, this is the brand new side, so we'll see if the other side is any rustier or dirtier. It's certainly going to be dirtier. And I'm not going to show the whole thing over there, but I may show how the spring cartridge comes out. But I don't recall if you can do that without pulling the knuckle off. And I would really not want to do that again, but we might. So we will have to see. Alright, so the rears are not too much different than the fronts. They're smaller, single piston. One difference is this is a 10, top and bottom. These are still 22s. And other than, yeah, you got the parking brake in here, so I had to use a hammer to beat that other one off because it was kind of hanging on the parking brake. But if you're in the Rust Belt, good luck, because it ain't going to be pretty. But yeah, so I'm going to just pop these off. And they don't have another slider. It's actually, the slider is a through unit that's mounted to the caliper itself. So that's all that it is. And down there. And you can pry on that a little bit to loosen it up. And it'll come out, sort of. Maybe. But anyway, once you get that, you pop the 22s off and you can expose this. Alright, same thing as before. Just you only need one this time. Push it all the way back. Yeah, you get the idea. Alright, got her all the way in. Make sure your little boot is tucked in good all the way around it. You don't want it poofing out and getting in the way of stuff. Now let's check something. Alright. I have never added brake fluid to that thing. You can see it's full now, and it was not full before. It was probably down to about here. So, if you're driving a car that has worn brakes, not that they're non-functional, but like this one where they're just down, they're just used, and you have been topping up the brake fluid, when you go to do this, you're going to spill brake fluid all over the inside of the engine bay, because it's going to push all that fluid back in. And as you can see, I don't have any leaks because it's right back to where it was the day I bought the truck. Now it's cruddy, which is why we're going to do a brake fluid flush after we get all this done. But yeah, so that's why you have to be careful when you're doing this. Alright, let's get the old mallet. What did I do with it? I had it. Oh, there it is. Now you want to be pretty sure that your brake rotors are going to fit when you do this, because you're going to damage them. There it comes. Yeah, but flatten that back out. But yeah, it's because of you got a little drum brake in here for your emergency brake, and if she's sticky at all, that's going to be fun. So yeah, if you're up north, good luck. Anyway, we're going to clean that up, blow that out, tap that down, and then start the reassembly. Not much to it, just put it back on in reverse. Couple of things about the rear brakes. The sliders, again, not being separate like the fronts, that's a single piece that clips onto the caliper bracket. Smarter people than I would have ordered a set of these. I didn't, so these are in good shape. They're just dusty and dirty. So I'm going to hit that with a wire brush, clean all that stuff out nice and clean, and then we will show you the quirk of putting the brake pads in, because I found one. Alright. First thing is, the new brake pads have squeakers on them. The old ones didn't. And the second thing is, the new pads can only be loaded from one side. You can't load the pads from the side that has the mounting holes on them. So you got to put one pad kind of in backwards. Get it all the way down there, and tucked up under these metal sliders that you just cleaned out. Try not to flop it off the other end because it'll jam. There it is. Alright. And then the other one can go in the same manner. About like that. Once you have that done, then you can get her down, get those 22 mil bolts back in, and bolt her up. And once those are snugged up, my God, did they use a Loctite on those. Just press the pads in to square them up, and you're ready to put your little damper thingy in there. And try to get this back on. And it takes two hands, so I'll be back. And there it is. Not too much to it. You just got to make sure that when you're putting that back on that you pull these little rubber spacers out so that it fits over
the bracket in there when you're putting the bolts back on. And you can kind of see where that's underneath the bottom of the bracket, of the holder bracket. That kind of needs to go in first, and then it just rocks down that way. But that's it. That's a full 4-corner brake job on a 4th gen Ram. Really not terrible. And the rear pads were still pretty darn good. Unbelievable for almost 150,000 miles. So, what I didn't see is a bedding procedure from EBC in any of these boxes or instructions or anything like that. So, I'm gonna get this back down on the ground with the wheels on it, of course, and clean up a little bit and see if I can find that online as to how they recommend. Well, then again, there is a whole bunch of crap written on the back of the box. Let's see if there's anything over there. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's on the box. Fitting instructions. Okay. Okay, yeah. Vibration, blah, blah, blah. Always fit. Pads, rotors. And allow 100 to 200 miles for pads and discs rotors to bed in. During this time, drive cautiously as brake effect may be lower. Okay, well, it doesn't say that you got to go and heat them up or do anything like that, but I'm going to double check. And then we'll get ready to take this thing out for a rip. Alright, so we just pumped the brakes a few times. Woohoo! Hear anything stupid? Super smooth. And of course I forgot to look to see if there was a bedding procedure. We're going to go out and just do a... Oops, just realized the hood's still open. Well, I'll tell you why it's not telling me that. Alright, we're going to fix that before I crash. Back in a minute. Alright, so we got the hood closed, which is pleasant. And we'll go out here and do a few stops from 25 or 30. Not all the way to 0, and we're not going to hold the brakes on when we get there. Just a nice moderate stop. Down to about 10. God, it is what, 67 degrees? It's about 70 degrees today. The humidity's a little high though, I'm dripping. Winter in the south. Because I think today is, or yesterday might have been the first day of winter. Alright, another moderate stop. Oh, these feel good. Not that the originals didn't feel good, they were great. I have to say this truck had phenomenal brakes, or has phenomenal brakes, just from the factory, and as you can see they lasted extremely well. Alright, coming up here to a stop sign. They feel like they're releasing really well, I don't feel anything dragging. A few more starts and stops, and we're gonna take it out on the road. Alright, well, we're back, did a little bit of driving. Woohoo! They're a little warm, but not too bad. I don't think anything was sticking. They brake extremely smoothly. I'm super happy with that. Yeah, everything's looking good. And the battery on my camera is about to take a dump, so I am super happy with that. All right, well, that's how you do a brake job. As I said, on the old Ram. So, next video, I will be attempting to do a brake flush with my pressure bleeder. First time I've ever had to use it. I bought it for the hot rod, but I couldn't make it fit, so there you go. Anyway, hope you're all having a good day. Well, Merry Christmas. Take care.